Senators must put victims before criminals. They must put public safety first and vote no on bills that put our citizens at risk.
And that's the message tonight from Omaha's mayor, Nebraska's governor, along with the Nebraska Attorney General, police chiefs, and local sheriffs. A message aimed at lawmakers in Lincoln. Good evening. I'm Joe Chiodo. Mallory is off tonight. Happening locally live at 5, an unprecedented show of solidarity. The state's top executives are speaking out against key bills in the Nebraska legislature that could eventually become law. The group that gathered in Omaha is critical of several proposals, among them LB 483. In part, the bill would reduce prison sentences for many, if not most, offenders. Also, LB 173, which removes mandatory minimum sentences, and LB 268. That would repeal Nebraska's death penalty. Much of the debate stems from Nebraska's overcrowded prisons. Plus, the killing spree committed by Nico Jenkins. Now, you'll remember he had a shotgun in his hands within hours of his release from prison. Jenkins used that gun to kill 4 people in just a 10-day span. This was back in August 2013. His last victim, pictured there, was Andrea Kruger. She was dragged from her car at 168th and Fort and shot multiple times at point-blank range. Jenkins wanted her SUV. John Chapman listened to executives' concerns about all this. He continues our complete coverage.
According to this group, these bills will hurt public safety, and they are encouraging the public to contact their senators and voice their opposition to these bills. The group of law enforcement officials, county attorneys, and politicians pulled no punches. They believe the legislature is working to put the public's safety at risk.
LB 173, sponsored by Senator Ernie Chambers, and right now 27 other senators agree that reducing these penalties is a good idea. These senators are not taking our gang problem seriously. Their vote support this bill shows more concern for the criminal than the victim.
The death penalty is important to protecting the public safety, and I will veto any attempt to change that.
Nebraska Attorney General Doug Peterson used a recent court decision to illustrate how he thinks LB 483, or the one-third rule, would work. Michael Lloyd was sentenced to 30 to 35 years in prison for strangling to death 19-year-old Michelle Rodriguez. He could be eligible for parole in 15 years. Under the proposed legislation, that 15 years is cut to under 6.
The one-third rule is not a proposal to reduce prison overcrowding. Where does that come from? I think that comes from the playbook of the ACLU Nebraska plan. And our concern is, if it comes from the ACLU playbook, that the playbook is not going to prioritize public safety. The ACLU is a fine organization, but their priority is prisoner rights, not public safety.
Omaha Police Chief Todd Smotter says his men and women are out on the streets fighting crime, working to keep the city of Omaha safe. He says he needs the state senators to work with the team.
This is a criminal justice system and only works when police courts and corrections are in unison. If the legislature goes too far with their reach with bills, it throws that system out of alignment, and it becomes very hard to police the city of Omaha.
With photographer Mike Clues, John Chapman, WOWT 6 News.
Everyone at today's news conference is urging citizens to contact their state senators about the prison reform bills and repeal of the death penalty. Now, we reached out to the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, which voted unanimously to send the death penalty bill to the floor.
I think all the people really believe that this is a subject that needed to be debated. And we're hearing all sides. So if the people from Nebraska are listening to this debate, they're hearing a pretty good argument on both sides.
Even as leaders in Omaha tried to rally public opinion, state senators did vote to give first-round approval to the bill that will repeal the death penalty. The controversial prison bills both moved forward yesterday. Governor Ricketts says his newly hired director of corrections is working on the problems, and he says Scott Frakes needs time to analyze the situation. He has been on the job for just 2 months. The governor says they will fix that problem.